After being kicked away by Taehyung like a dog, the group of people with the scarred man obediently gathered their things and left. As they walked, they looked ridiculous, bowing and fawning. Although his anger was at its peak, the scarred man was helpless and dared not say anything more. Once they had disappeared from sight, the villagers began cheering for Taehyung, their mouths continuously shouting, "Advisor Lin, Advisor Lin." Feeling a bit awkward, Taehyung shouted loudly, "The bonfire party is all set. Let me down and let's all enjoy the party together." Meanwhile, Duru Meng wasn't particularly impressed by what was going on. Everyone held hands and formed a circle around the fire tower. Still not used to this, Duru Meng felt a bit shy. Taehyung, on the other hand, was surrounded by several girls. Noticing that Taehyung seemed uncomfortable, Nadia quickly spoke up to explain, "These are my sisters." "Oh, so you have so many sisters?" "Yes, they are the most beautiful women in our tribe. There are countless men who want to marry them." Seeing the girls get a little shy, Taehyung quickly changed the subject. "You and your sisters don't look alike, though." "Yes, that's true. Many tribes in Africa practice polygamy, so we all have different mothers. My mother is from the West." "Oh, so you're mixed race? No wonder you're so beautiful." Seeing Taehyung's interest in her, Duru Meng started to sense a hint of attraction. Nadia hurriedly pulled Taehyung somewhere, making Duru Meng feel uneasy about it. They arrived at a deserted house with no one in sight, but this house was strange. There were no windows and no main door, making it feel a little too open for comfort. As soon as they stepped inside, Taehyung couldn't help but ask, "Why did you bring me here?" Before he could even finish his sentence, Nadia immediately sealed his lips with a kiss, silencing him. After more than 2 minutes of passionate kissing, Nadia suddenly took 2 grapefruits and tried to feed them to Taehyung. This left him stunned, and he couldn't help but say, "What's going on? Eating grapefruit out in the open like this, isn't that a little weird?" Nadia ignored Taehyung's words and lunged forward to kiss his neck. Taehyung blushed, clearly embarrassed, and could only let out a soft, ah. Still not done with her moves, Nadia completely ignored the other girls. Taehyung hesitated and asked, "Is this really okay?" At that, Nadia suddenly stopped, bit her lip, and whispered, "I knew you'd think that. That's why I already talked to them about it." And with just 2 claps of her hands, everything fell into place. 3 of Nadia's sisters immediately charged in like hungry tigers. After the 4 girls had securely restrained Taehyung, Nadia finally spoke up to confirm, "Well, I guess this is good enough, right? After hearing our tradition, you must have thought about this, didn't you?" At that moment, Taehyung's face turned as red as a tomato. Just as he was about to explain, one of the girls interrupted him. "Does Master Lin think we're not good enough? Do you think we're not beautiful enough? Or are there too many of us, and you're embarrassed? Do you want any of us to leave?" Taehyung's face immediately brightened again. "In our country, we have a saying, it's hard to meet, but even harder to part." Inside the house, the 5 of them were getting ready to play the pig game, while outside, Duru Meng was hiding in the bushes spying. Her mind was racing. Taehyung had gone into the house with the chieftain's daughter, then 3 more of the chieftain's daughters followed him in. He had thought he was special, but it turned out he was just like all the other men. What a bunch of lowly men, but with so many women, how long would he be able to keep up? The system also notified her that her favorite level had dropped by 10%. Her current favorite level was now at 32%. Due to her overwhelming curiosity, Duru Meng took a chance and poked her head out the window to take a look. "Let me see how pathetic you look, how embarrassing it is. After this, will you still dare to ignore me? I'll use this to mock you, make you lose all your face, and turn you into my personal joke, performing for my amusement." But as soon as her head appeared, her eyes instantly lit up, and her mouth kept mumbling, "Oh my god, what is this?" After a moment of carefully inspecting the scene, Duru Meng thought it resembled an orchid. The image was blurry, but she guessed that everyone could already imagine how intense this situation was. At that moment, Nadia's face was redder than a tomato, and her mouth was gasping for air from sheer satisfaction. With her wild imagination, Duru Meng continued to picture a bee searching for nectar. The bee's rapidly flapping wings reminded her of Taehyung's fingers. "Oh my god, what is this?" It was vibrating with such high frequency. Could a human actually do this? It was just like the wings of a honeybee. On this side, according to Duru Meng's account, the little honeybee was frantically searching for sweet nectar, not content with just one blossom, but spreading his attention to all 4 radiant flowers at once. At that moment, the 4 girls seemed unable to keep their composure, reacting instinctively to the intense and rapid unfolding of events. After the peak of the moment, Taehyung gently placed a tender kiss on Nadia. "Those other 3 girls, I'll cherish them too, like princesses," he said softly. What followed were powerful yet rhythmical movements between the 2. Nadia did her best to match Taehyung's lead, the 2 of them moving as if performing a well-rehearsed dance. The remaining girls were not left out. They supported one another in perfect harmony, contributing to the joyful, energetic atmosphere. Witnessing this scene, Du Meng was utterly stunned, everything unfolding before her felt like it had surpassed the boundaries of her imagination. Their synergy and fluidity left her bewildered, for she had never encountered anything quite like this before. With the continued connection between Taeyong and Nadia, her favorite level increased by another 5%, now reaching 93%. At that very moment, Taeyong suddenly sensed something outside the window. He turned his icy gaze toward it. Meeting that piercing look, Du Meng blushed deeply, her limbs weakening, unable to utter a single word. Taeyong was frozen in place, blinking as he processed what he had just heard. Wait, what? The tribe leader stood up and respectfully bowed his head. Strategist Taehyung, your actions last night not only saved our people from danger, but also inspired unity among the villagers. We believe you're the right person to lead us into a new era. Behind him, the villagers cheered in unison, lifting baskets of fruit, handmade robes, and even a ceremonial headdress carved from obsidian wood. Still half awake and running on autopilot, Taeyong scratched his head, forcing a chuckle. Ah, that's really flattering and all, but don't you think this is a bit sudden? A nearby elder stepped forward. Sudden? No, young man. This has been written in the stars. Our ancient prophecy spoke of a wandering strategist who would arrive during the blood moon and restore balance. That was you. Another villager chimed in enthusiastically, and besides, who else could tame 4 spirits of the forest in a single night? Taeyong coughed awkwardly. I wouldn't exactly put it that way. Before he could come up with a proper excuse, a loud voice interrupted from behind. I object. Everyone turned to see Du Meng, now fully awake, staggering forward while rubbing her eyes. You can't just hand over the village to him. He hasn't even passed the ceremonial trial. The tribe leader nodded. You're right. That's fair. Strategist Taeyong, if you truly wish to lead this village, you must first complete the rite of harmony. Taeyong tilted his head, and that is... A shaman elder stepped forward, raising acknowledged staff into the air. You must defeat the sacred guardian beast of the forest and return with its horn before sundown. Only then shall you earn the right to lead. Everyone looked serious. Taeyong sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. Of course there's a giant beast involved. Can't I just take a written exam instead? Despite the laughter from the crowd, Du Meng smirked, arms crossed. Let's see if the great strategist can handle a little adventure without losing his cool. Taeyong cracked his knuckles, grinning with renewed energy. All right then, let's go meet this forest guardian. But if I win, you're all calling me chief strategist from now on. And with that, he turned dramatically and strode toward the woods, unaware that deep within the forest, 2 glowing eyes had already locked onto him, waiting. Taeyong immediately started sweating nervously when he heard this. He quickly waved his hands and said, That's not possible. I'm just an exchange student from overseas, passing through and helping out. I'll be heading back to my country soon, so the chief should reconsider this matter. After hearing this, the chief, feeling helpless, nodded and confirmed, I understand. He then stood up, shouting confidently, The strategist is a deity sent from the heavens to save us. Surely, this is the legendary guardian spirit descending upon us. The guardian's eyes see across the vast prairie, and we can't be selfish like this. Therefore, I will temporarily take on the role of the guardian and manage the tribe in their stead. The villagers, upon hearing this, erupted in wild cheers. Oh ho, oh ho, oh ho, oh oh. The chief, however, wasn't done talking. He continued, Let's all cheer together for our new chief, the guardian spirit Taeyong. This left Taeyong feeling a bit helpless and confused. What language were they speaking? But seeing how happy they all were, he figured it couldn't be something too bad, right? As he was thinking, the wife of the tribe leader approached, grabbed his hand, and raised it up while shouting wildly, Oh ho, oh ho, oh ho, oh oh. Taeyong, caught off guard, instinctively shouted back 3 times, Oh oh oh. This made the tribe leader extremely excited, and he continued, The guardian spirit has agreed to make you the tribe leader. Then, everyone around went wild, cheering loudly, Oh ho, oh ho, oh ho, oh oh. But since time was running out, Taeyong had no choice but to pick up Du Meng and prepare to head back. He couldn't stop thinking to himself, They were so enthusiastic today, it's honestly a bit overwhelming. Suddenly, his gaze landed on her beautiful face. Without thinking, he muttered, You actually look pretty cute when you're sleeping. After more than 20 minutes of driving back to school, Taeyong finally spoke up, calling out to Du Meng, We're almost at school. Wake up already. At that, Du Meng slowly woke up. When she realized she was lying in his arms, she froze, shocked by the situation. Then she shyly said, Thank you. Taeyong, always unable to resist teasing her, couldn't help but criticize her for sleeping like a pig. If I had sold you off to another country earlier, you wouldn't have even noticed, right? Just then, the sound of hurried footsteps approached from behind, followed by a shout calling out to Taehyung. Finally, you show up. When I turned back, I saw Hae-san holding a trading knife in his hand. Behind him, two bodyguards were gearing up, ready to make things ugly. Hae-san was still acting all arrogant, shouting out provocations. It was totally worth it, blocking you all this time. Now, just sit still while I kill you. But before he could finish his sentence, Tayong slapped him so hard that Hae-san spat out a mouthful of saliva. His underlings rushed to him, looking extremely worried, and started calling his name. They then pointed directly at Taehyung and yelled, "Dan, you actually laid hands on Hae-san. He's the only son of the Baker family. He's the one who controls the biggest gold mine around here. You're done for, you idiot." When Taehyung heard the name Baker family, he put his chin in his hand, puzzled, and said, "I think I've heard of them before somewhere." His lack of knowledge left Ju-Ru Meng speechless, unsure of what to say. Hae-san, on the other hand, thought Taehyung was afraid and started laughing like a clown. He taunted, "So, you finally realize how powerful I am, huh? I'll give you 3 seconds to kneel. If not." But before he could finish, Taehyung was already in front of him, snatching the gun away. Without missing a beat, he kicked Hae-san right in his sensitive spot, making him scream like a pig being slaughtered. Taehyung's face darkened, his expression terrifying. His mouth, however, was still teasing. Well, looks like I accidentally kicked the wrong thing. Was that some crap on the street?" As soon as he finished speaking, Taehyung took a step back. Hae-san doubled over, groaning in pain and clutching his side. His two lackeys hurried to help him into the car, then quickly drove away, heading straight back to their base. Before leaving, they didn't forget to shout a warning. "You just wait. The Baker family won't let this slide." Looking worried, Ju-Ru Meng turned to Taehyung and said, "You've basically made an enemy of the Baker family now. You should leave the country immediately. They've likely locked down the airport already. The Du family can arrange a private jet for you in secret." But Taehyung replied calmly, "No need. Let's just head back to school." With that, he turned and walked off, leaving Ju-Ru Meng puzzled by his composure. Then he picked up the golden gun and looked at her. "This little game, I'm guessing you're still not done playing, right?" The scene then shifts to Ham's base. At that moment, he was filled with rage, pacing around and knocking over objects in frustration. "Taehyung, I won't let this go. Just you wait." He was struggling to contain his anger when his son suddenly peeked into the room, eyes red and teary. The boy burst out, "There's this new student at school. He's been acting like he owns the place. Look what he did to me. Dad, you got to stand up for me." But before he could finish speaking, his father slapped him with a heavy blow. After that, Ham continued to yell passionately, "I raised you like this, and this is what I get. A useless son who only knows how to cry all the time. You have guns and people, and yet you couldn't even handle one student. You should just go die. How dare you come crying to me after making such a fool of yourself?" But the person named Taehyung was no ordinary person. Even the group of people surrounding him couldn't beat him. "How about you lend me 10 netto 100 soldiers? I'll make sure to drain his blood dry." When Ham heard the name Taehyung, his eyes immediately lit up. He said, wide-eyed, "Are you telling me the person who beat you is named Taehyung? He's Chinese, right?" Hae-san, hearing the question, could only respond with a simple, yes. "But how do you know him?" At that moment, Ham's face darkened and his frown deepened as he quietly thought to himself, Good. I was just thinking about how to find him. I didn't expect him to be that student from Hae-san's school." Ha, you bastard. So you have a lot of money, huh? Well, even a strong dragon can't crush a local snake. On my turf, you're definitely going to die." After thinking for a moment, Ham quickly pulled out his phone and called someone. "It's the defense minister, right? How about we talk business for a bit?" The scene shifts to a regular morning at the university. At this moment, Taehyung was walking to class with Ju-Ru Meng. He could already feel the fresh air around him. Sure enough, after getting rid of the pests, the campus had become much cleaner and life around the university was about to get a lot more pleasant. However, Ju-Ru Meng seemed very worried. "How can you be so calm after making enemies with the Baker family? They'll come after us sooner or later." Yet, Taehyung remained as calm as ever, like nothing had happened. "If they come, I'm not afraid of them." Suddenly, Ju-Ru Meng felt something was off. Something strange today. Why is the campus so empty? I haven't seen anyone around. Only then did Taehyung start to notice. "What's going on?" "Ah, so you finally noticed?" Ju-Ru Meng said. But Taehyung kept walking forward, calmly muttering, "After all these days, those people have finally shown up. Must be Ham, right? Did he really bring the army here to the campus?" Before Ju-Ru Meng could ask any more questions, a group of people in military uniforms holding AK-47s rushed toward them. Then they surrounded the two of them in a tight circle. After that, it was Ham and his son's turn to step forward. With a mocking smile, Ham called out, "Taehyung, we meet again. Let's see how you try to escape this time, still keeping that calm attitude of yours." Taehyung greeted him with a friendly tone. "So, you two are fighting together today? I honestly didn't think you'd show up together." Du Rumeng immediately pointed at Ham and shouted, "You've mobilized the military within the city, planning to attack Chinese exchange students. You've broken the law. I'll report this to the embassy." But before Du Rumeng could finish her sentence, Hei San already aimed his gun directly at her and shouted, "Shut up! Who said this is breaking the law?" Before we acted, we notified the principal and evacuated all unrelated people. Right now, the other students and teachers are in a safe place, watching from a distance. They're enjoying watching Taeyong being caught. Ha ha ha. At that moment, inside the sports warehouse, the exchange students were standing in a corner watching. The girl in the purple shirt could feel it too. It was really over this time. Taeyong had actually been surrounded by the Baker family's military forces. The teacher who often bullies others was trembling, muttering to himself, "It's over, it's all over. I've offended the Baker family. Taeyong is as good as dead now. No wonder the principal told me to secretly lead all the students to escape. But I ended up bringing the military to arrest people. Hasan is a madman, emotionally unstable. Taeyong has no way out, and Hasan outside is acting so arrogantly. He must know it's useless to run, so he just gave up on resisting, huh?" Before he could finish speaking, Yu Ru Meng rushed forward and stood in front of him, boldly declaring, "Taeyong is mine. No one is allowed to touch him." Then she turned to Taeyong and assured him, "Don't worry, I've already called the police. As long as the embassy gets involved, they won't dare publicly provoke us anymore." Ham immediately interrupted angrily, "China may be strong, but your good friend has already provoked the laws of Africa. No one can save him now. Hurry up and arrest him." Despite this, Yu Ru Meng stubbornly stayed in place. "Let me see who dares to take him." Suddenly a voice came from the distance. "Looks like the granddaughter of the Du family is really brave. This bald guy is the Minister of Defense." As he approached, he boldly declared, "The Du family has been deeply rooted in Africa for many years, and I should have shown some respect for you all. It's just a shame that I received a report accusing the Chinese person named Taeyong of committing war crimes with solid evidence. Don't even talk about a small Chinese group like the Du family. International law can't protect him." Ham eagerly joined in, adding, "That's right, Minister. Taeyong is colluding with the natives to raid other tribes. He's even acting as their strategist. I can testify to that. He goes to school during the day and leads the tribe in combat operations at night. If that's not a war crime, then what is it? He's trying to start a war between the tribes and our country. He must be executed immediately." Du Rumeng listened, feeling helpless, not knowing what to do. Seeing this, the Minister of Defense took advantage of the situation. "So, Taeyong, did you do all these things? Is there anything you'd like to defend yourself with?" Taeyong, being honest by nature and not afraid of anyone, simply confirmed the accusation. "Whatever you say, that's who I am." This made him even more arrogant. "Wow, you're admitting it so quickly?" The strategist Taeyong. "I told you, as long as you're here, we'll always cross paths. This time, you won't have a chance to turn things around." But before he could finish, the sound of battle drums echoed from the distance, leaving everyone confused and unsure of what was happening. Suddenly, a number of armored tanks appeared from behind. It wasn't just tanks, drones and combat robots were also fully equipped. As the dust cleared, a loud, piercing scream echoed from the distance. "Who dares touch our chief?" Even Taeyong didn't expect this situation. "Oh, why are they here?" The group of students and their teacher froze for a moment, equally stunned, repeatedly asking themselves, "What is this? Is this the native tribe?" Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control, Ham quickly pointed his gun at Taeyong, planning to subdue him. He thought that if he could control Taeyong, no matter how many members the tribe had, they'd be like a headless snake. But that turned out to be a fatal mistake. With just a simple flick of his hand, the gun in Ham's grip was bent at a 90-degree angle. Not only that, but his hand was crushed into pulp as well. Taeyong kept his hands in his pockets and casually asked, "Why are you using a knife and a gun? Isn't it better to just sit back and watch the show?" At that moment, the tribal chief stepped forward and said, "Sorry, we arrived late and it caused you trouble." Before Taeyong could process what was happening, the chief knelt and presented the chief's token to him. The tribe welcomes Chief Taeyong back. The crowd raised their hands and echoed in unison, "Welcome Chief Taeyong back. Long live the chief, long live, long live." When Ham and his son saw this, their eyes nearly popped out, their mouths hung open, and their tongues lolled in disbelief. The exchange students were just as shocked, staring with wide eyes, unable to comprehend what was going on. It turns out that the tribe's chief had just brought his incredibly powerful army with him. After a few ceremonial rituals, he picked up the chief's hat and placed it directly on Taehyung's head. Seeing that Taehyung didn't seem to refuse, the chief smiled broadly and confirmed, after the official tribal investiture ceremony, Sir Taehyung, you are now officially the chief of our tribe. Taehyung was still confused, not really understanding what was happening, when, out of nowhere, Nadia suddenly rushed up and kissed him on the cheek. Blushing, she called out, "Beloved current chief, my body longs for the blessings of the gods." This made Taehyung blush as well, and he couldn't help but think how direct the tribe's culture was to say something like that right in front of so many people. Then suddenly, the chief shouted loudly to everyone, "Sir Taehyung is our chief. He will protect our tribe, and whatever methods he uses to deal with invaders are entirely justified. This is the law of the plains, passed down for generations. City laws or international laws have no power to interfere." The group of exchange students stood there, their eyes wide and mouths agape, unable to stop asking questions. How did Taehyung become the chief? Did I miss something? How did I not know about this? Once everything seemed under control, Taehyung spoke up and addressed the chief, saying, "Why are you all here? And why are you organizing this ceremony for me?" The chief, hearing the question, respectfully responded, "I'll explain everything to you later, sir." Meanwhile, the Minister of Defense was seething with anger, silently cursing in his mind, "Damn it. War crimes may be outside the law of the savannah, but the benefits Ham promised me are mine for the taking." Blinded by greed, he sharply and coldly spoke, "Are you trying to exploit a loophole in the law? The laws of the savannah only apply to Africans on the African savannah. He's Chinese, so he has no right to be chief here. Therefore, the actions of this tribal chief are illegal. Taehyung's position as chief is not recognized by the African government. War crimes have already been committed, and we must arrest this Chinese man immediately." At the signal, his subordinates quickly pointed their guns at Taehyung, but the villagers of the tribe weren't backing down. They instantly aimed their weapons at the Minister of Defense's men. "How dare you touch our chief?" One of them shouted. "You won't live long enough to regret it." The chief on this side was also very eager, constantly shouting and encouraging, "I am willing to give my life for the chief. The warriors, follow me." Seeing the situation getting tense, Taehyung quickly told the chief not to panic. He assured him that not only would there be no battle, but they could defeat all these villains without losing a single soldier. "I'm serious," he added. Hearing this, Ham burst into laughter, acting like a man on drugs. "You Chinese are always so full of yourselves. Even now, you think you can act tough with us? Where are your soldiers? Get ready to charge and capture them." But before he could finish his sentence, something huge appeared in the sky. Looking up, he saw not stars, but countless armed helicopters. The gust of wind they created made the entire area feel like it was being blown apart by dust. This only made the minister's subordinates even more anxious. Then, one helicopter landed directly. From inside, an elderly man in a suit stepped out with a commanding presence. It was none other than the president himself. Even Ham and the minister hadn't expected the president to personally handle this situation. The two of them exchanged glances and laughed like two kids who just played a prank. "Wow, I can't believe you not only found me, but even managed to bring the president along. Wow, I can't believe your plan was so thorough. You even got the president to come." After hearing the other person's words, the two of them finally realized the issue. The president wasn't here because of them. But ironically, as they glanced to the left, they discovered another problem. Right then, the president was smiling and shaking hands, calling out, "Boss Kim, I've heard so much about you." Taehyung, being just as friendly, greeted him back, "Mr. President, was everything all right on your way here?" Meanwhile, everyone behind them was in complete shock, their mouths wide open in disbelief as they whispered to each other, "What just happened? Is that really the president of Africa? Why is the president shaking hands with Taehyung? And who is this Boss Kim he just mentioned? Wait, I think I remember now. Isn't that the mysterious Chinese tycoon who defeated Japan's Kimbita Group and Like Sing, one of the 4 major conglomerates in Korea?" At that moment, Nadia couldn't help but feel even more drawn to Taehyung. Even the president seemed to show respect. Taehyung truly deserved his reputation as the guardian of the Great Prairie. Du Meng wasn't much different. She couldn't stop questioning everything in her head. Always Boss Kim? Turns out he's the legendary Boss Kim with a fortune of trillions. This hidden identity is such a huge surprise. As a result, her favorite level went up by 15%. Du Meng's current favorite level was now 62%. The president then spoke up, announcing, "I am the president of this nation, and on behalf of the country, I officially recognize Taehyung's position as tribal chief. All of Taehyung's actions are in line with the laws of the Great Prairie, and the accusations of war crimes are baseless. At the same time, Ham from the Baker family and the defense minister had secretly conspired together, committing crimes of abuse of power, bribery, accepting bribes, illegally using armed forces, engaging in illegal gold mining, intentional murder, and causing serious threats to national security. They needed to be arrested immediately. Hearing this, the defense minister quickly tried to defend himself, saying, "Mr. President, are you sure you've got the facts right? We haven't conspired. How could that Chinese guy even qualify to be a chief? He committed war crimes, and I did what I did for the sake of national security." Ham also chimed in, "The defense minister is absolutely right. My gold mining activities are completely legal." But Taehyung wouldn't let them speak any further and shouted, still trying to play innocent, "Arrest all of them and lock them up for good. The command vehicle you used to invade the native tribe is the best proof. You think I took your money and just let you go? Actually, I was playing you, catching the small fish to get all of you at once. When Hey Sam came back looking for you, I used my position as chief to raise 1.5 billion yuan worth of weapons for the African military. After that, I reached out to the president. He wants to govern the country well, but the reality of military rule makes it way too hard to even get started. Now that we have this perfect opportunity to get rid of the hidden national two-war posing as the Minister of Defense, we quickly agreed, and now all we have to do is sit back and wait for you to walk right into the trap." After hearing this, Ham and the Minister of Defense were completely drained, their legs giving out as they collapsed to the ground, unable to muster any strength left. Over here, Hassan, who had never been liked by anyone, was immediately attacked when he fell from power. Seeing that he was still acting arrogant, the teacher shouted loudly, "We are all victims of Hassan's abuse. We've been terrorized by him for so long, exhausted by his violence. We hope the president will bring this criminal to justice." The president, hearing this, spoke in a serious tone. "Don't worry, everyone. No one in the Baker family or their allies will escape. Their crimes are severe enough to warrant the death penalty, and all their assets will be seized. A portion of that will be used to compensate the victims." At this point, both Ham and the Minister of Defense had lost all sense of reasoning, desperately pleading with the president in vain. Meanwhile, the good side was overjoyed, repeatedly thanking the president. Afterward, the three villains were escorted back by plane. Meanwhile, the exchange students gathered around Taehyung, praising him. "I can't believe Taehyung became the chief and even invited the president. He completely took down the defense minister and the Baker family. To celebrate, the school is giving us a 3-day break. The whole town is celebrating, the cafeteria is celebrating, everyone's celebrating. Nothing could be better than today." The scene then shifts to the tribal village at night. People were gathered around a bonfire having a celebration. The party wasn't just for the tribe's villagers, but also for the university exchange students. Two sweet-talking students were chatting about the alcohol. "This drink tastes so strange, but it sure gets you drunk fast. I've only had 3 sips and I'm already blushing." "Wait, so we've only had a sip?" Seeing her friend starting to babble, the girl in purple suggested they go find Taehyung and have a drink with him. The girl in pink asked, "Where's Taehyung?" A villager responded, "Chief Taehyung and the daughters of the old chief are performing a special ritual in the sacred cave. He probably won't be back until tomorrow." Hearing the words special ritual, especially with the old chief's daughters involved, made the two girls have some rather impure thoughts. At the same time, inside the guardian spirit cave from the outside, it looked like just any other cave. But inside, 4 girls were performing a ritual to summon the monster from Taehyung's pants. In the center of the cave, a large goat hide mat spread over more than 5 square meters, and the 4 girls were taking turns dancing fiery, seductive dances for Taehyung. Nadia was the boldest of them all, sensually moving her body in front of Taehyung, making him blush and only able to awkwardly praise. "That's great, really great." After the dance ritual, they moved on to the offering ceremony. Nadia set up 2 fruit platters and another tray with something on it. Looking closer, it was a statue tightly holding a smaller statue. Taehyung, sweating nervously, asked, "Is this statue meant to represent the god of reproduction?" Nadia, somewhat helpless at his question, explained, "This is the hunting god of our tribe, but he also oversees reproduction. This is a totem I quickly made this afternoon, and it's an essential part of our tribe's ritual to honor the gods." Just as she finished her sentence, the 2 girls appeared from outside. "Something as fun as this, why didn't you bring us along? You guys want to keep Taehyung all to yourselves for the whole night? That's a bit much. We'd also want to congratulate Taehyung in person." Seeing this, Taehyung immediately felt like something was off. He quickly spoke up. "Are you guys drunk? This is an important ceremony for the tribe. Outsiders can't be involved. So you should head back for now, and later I'll drink with you guys." Before he could finish, the girl in the pink outfit interrupted, "No, I want to do it right now." The girls from the tribe couldn't accept that and immediately responded, "Fine, so you want to fight for the man you like, huh? Our tribe has a tradition where we wrestle to compete for a partner. It's just a matter of whether you're brave enough to do it. The two girls, not afraid of anyone, immediately took off their jackets and got ready to fight. What's there to be afraid of? Wrestling is very popular in our country. I've done it before. The student unions in American universities even have wrestling leagues. I've even wrestled in the mud. And so, a wrestling match between the four busty girls began. At first, the strength of the four girls seemed pretty even, but when it came to endurance, the two girls from the native tribe had the upper hand. In just a brief 2 minutes, the two exchange students were pinned down and unable to move. In the end, they could only accept defeat in humiliation. Taehyung stood outside, watching eagerly, drooling, and silently praising, "Impressive, really impressive. Watching this makes my blood boil." At this moment, Nadia felt extremely pleased. The city people are pampered. They can't compare to us, the tribes people. So the two exchange students had no choice but to give up, crying and running straight back to the campfire. Seeing everything settled, Nadia turned to Taehyung and said, "Let's continue with the final ceremony." However, the girl in the blue dress interrupted, "Wait a minute. While you were wrestling earlier, I spotted a little mouse lurking around." She then restrained Du-Ru Meng and led her inside. Upon seeing Du-Ru Meng, Nadia was slightly surprised. "Ms. Du, have you been hiding outside, spying on us this whole time?" Du-Ru Meng remained stubborn. "What if I was? I didn't stop you from doing anything, did I?" But Nadia replied, "That's not acceptable. This is the most important ceremony of our tribe, and outsiders aren't allowed to watch. However, since you, Ms. Du, have generously provided so many supplies for us, you are a great benefactor of the tribe. If you wish to watch, we can discuss it here." Nadia rushed over and tore Du-Ru Meng's dress apart, which really excited Taehyung. He silently thought to himself, "Just as white and round as I imagined, perfectly balanced like mountains rising and falling." After that, Du-Ru Meng became an unwilling altar for offerings, just as Taehyung had said, "Just as white and round, perfectly balanced like mountains rising and falling." Before the ceremony continued, Nadia reminded Du-Ru Meng one more time, "Don't interrupt this ritual, okay?" Then she looked inside the cave and called out loudly, "Hey, have you all finished changing yet?" 3 girls stepped out gracefully. One wore a snakeskin outfit, another wore a leopard skin outfit, and the last one wore tiger skin. The most striking detail was that their outfits included a tail at the back. To keep the tail straight, some kind of device was attached to it, though I'm not sure exactly how. Seeing this, Taehyung's eyes turned into heart shapes and his mouth couldn't stop shouting, "This is amazing." Then, Nadia continued to explain clearly, "This ritual reenacts the tribe's mythological story of the hunting god fighting against the 4 animal kings. The 4 of us will represent 4 different species, which means we each have different abilities. If you can't hold your ground, the ritual will be considered a failure, and you'll permanently lose the chance for a rematch. So, did you girls practice the ritual for me beforehand?" I asked. But the girls said no. That time was a reward. After all, your guardian god saved the tribe, and it was also a kind of test to prove that your physical strength meets the standard. This is the most important ritual in the tribe. Only someone who has made a significant contribution to saving the tribe is eligible to begin it and inherit the best genes. According to the records, the last activation was over 100 years ago. To honor the traditions of our ancestors, we will give everything we have in this ritual. Please don't be careless or overly confident." After hearing this, Taehyung immediately stood up, spread his arms, and shouted loudly, "I'm ready. Now let's begin this exciting ritual." At the sound of Taehyung's command to start the battle, the older sister, playing the role of the Gazelle King, bent her back and knelt on the ground. She had the antlers of a gazelle on her head, and her legs were positioned in a way that mimicked a statue of the animal. She was reenacting the moment when a gazelle kicks its legs to escape from a predator. As she continued explaining, she didn't stop. When predators chase the African gazelle, the gazelle leaps and runs away. Its white rear end disrupts the predator's line of sight. Then the gazelle will use its strongest weapon, its hind legs, to strike down the enemy. The second older sister, seeing this, wasn't about to be outdone. She immediately struck a highly suggestive pose and explained, "Hyenas are the most terrifying wild animals on the savannah. Their bite is incredibly powerful, easily capable of crushing the bones of an adult cow. What's even worse is that they love to attack vulnerable spots, especially the rear end of their prey. Just hearing that is already terrifying." Then the third older sister continued, "African pythons are the weirdest predators on the savannah. They use their camouflage to blend into the environment. When prey unknowingly passes by, the snake strikes immediately, coiling around it. The prey can't breathe, and the lack of oxygen causes it to die slowly. Afterward, the massive snake opens its mouth wide and swallows the prey bit by bit." Finally, Nadia, who had taken on the role of a leopard, explained, "Leopards are the most secretive assassins on the savannah. They can even hide in trees and suddenly drop down to attack their prey. Once they bite the prey's neck, There's no escape. The prey dies in a matter of seconds. Du Meng, who was still dazzled by all of this, was a bit shocked. In her mind, she couldn't stop praising the four girls for being so impressive. Actually, they were even more impressive than last time. She had never seen anything like this before, not even in her own experience. It turns out that on this side, the four king animals of Africa are relentlessly tormenting Taehyung, making Du Meng cry out to the heavens. In such a desperate situation, even with his extraordinary physical strength, he can't hold up. After all, these are four wild beasts with different abilities, and he's just a human. How could he possibly win? If he's not careful, he might lose his life. He'll fail immediately. Maybe he'll struggle and be defeated. I really can't wait to see more shocking moments. Just as Du Meng was thinking this, she saw Taehyung grab the waist of the female Gazelle King and then engage in a fierce foot-to-foot battle to reclaim the symbolic statue. As for where Taehyung's third foot was anchored, I have no idea. After a very intense struggle, the female Gazelle King commented, "Taehyung is so strong, my body can't hold out much longer. Someone, please come help me." The female Python King immediately moved in to help, but after a while, she too was left powerless, saying, "Taehyung should be out of breath by now, but he's still going on like he's reciting poetry. I'm about to give out too." And then the inevitable happened. Both the Gazelle Queen and the Python Queen were completely exhausted, lying motionless on the ground, panting heavily. Meanwhile, Taehyung was still full of energy. He immediately closed the distance with Nadia, grinning mischievously. "Your turn now. Report to my heart, darling." As soon as he finished speaking, Taehyung pulled Nadia's legs apart at the intersection, causing her to gasp and scream. You can't do that. But basically, Taehyung didn't care at all. He rushed straight to attack Nadia, sending her tumbling back and forth. And how lucky was it? At that moment, Nadia's face happened to be right in front of Du Meng's. Seeing Nadia gasp for breath and scream in hopelessness made Du Meng tear up from joy. As a result, Du Meng's favorite level went up by 5%. Nadia's favorite level had now reached 100%. The system continued to flash notifications. Ding ding. Congratulations, Master. You have achieved the 6th conquest at 100%. The rebellious transformation has been successful. Nadia's dependence on you has been fully converted. From now on, she will be loyal to you, never betraying you. The second phase didn't cost any rebellious coins, so they were refunded. All attributes were increased by 1 level. The Master's overall attributes are now at level 18. You may choose 1 skill, and there are 2 skill selections left. After handling the 3 girls, Taehyung grinned mischievously as he looked at the Hyena Queen. Now it's just you left, right? While the Hyena Queen was still unsure of what to do, over on this side, a banana suddenly slipped right into Du Meng's sacred spot. As a result, her favorite level increased by 8%. Her current favorite level was now at 70%. At this point, I'm speechless. They even managed to increase the favorite level like this, honestly at a loss for words. After more than an hour of intense back and forth. Finally, Taeyong had completed his test. Just when he thought everything was over, Du Meng suddenly managed to escape. Seeing Taeyong lying still on the ground, Du Meng immediately jumped on top of him, completely naked. Her eyes were filled with heart-shaped pupils, and her mouth kept mumbling, calling out to Taeyong, I also want to drink your yogurt." But just as their lips were about to meet for their exchange of moves, Taeyong's voice made Du Meng snap out of it. "Xiao Meng, what are you doing on top of me?" Too embarrassed, Du Meng quickly grabbed her dress and ran straight into the cave. Taeyong was left completely confused by the situation. What the heck? Where is she running off to? A month passed by quickly. Today was also the final day of the exchange program. As Taeyong and Du Meng were packing their bags to return home, the chief and 4 girls called them over. Then Nadia shared the news that the local government and our tribe had reached a deep cooperation, and they had even divided some of another tribe's territory for us. Our tribe had grown into a large one now, so there would be a lot to handle. The 4 of us were all incredibly busy, but thanks to you, our tribe has been able to develop so well. Taeyong, upon hearing this, praised them. "Now that you have money, if you ever miss me, you can always come to China to find me. Let's wrap it up. Once the tribe's development is stable, I'll definitely come find you. The government has built many more single towers across the plains, so we can all use mobile phones now. When I miss you, we can video call you, just make sure you stay safe on the road." After saying that, Nadia rushed over and gave Taeyong a tight hug. After a while of hugging, Taeyong turned and called the chief. "Finally, I just want to ask you one thing. Why did you lead everyone to the school that day to help me? I had already arranged for the president to come to the rescue, but you showed up first." The chief, being honest, confirmed it was because of the guidance of their guardian deity. "The night before, I dreamt that your family was plotting against you, so the next day, I led everyone there. Whether you believe it or not, it was truly the guidance of the guardian deity we worship. Then the plane took off. Sitting on the plane, Taehyung was still quite curious about what the chief had said. Could it really be that there's such a thing as a guardian deity? Well, whatever. It didn't matter now. He was heading home. But what's up with Duwero Meng? Ever since that ceremony, she's been acting all weird, like she's trying to hide. She must have been scared. Honestly, that's good for her. She used to follow me around in silence all the time, and it was so annoying. Plus, she wasn't even bringing in any reward money for her mischief. At least now things are quiet. Even kings and queens don't stick around forever. Here's some new information from the author. The arc set in Africa is now finished. Next up is a side story about Park Shinhai, who previously ranked #1 in the female idol activities. It's expected to be 3 episodes long. In a world called Sword and Magic, there stands a lone fortress. Inside, 2 young men are carrying water and food to somewhere. The place they're heading to is a large room. Inside, 5 girls are constantly twisting and flaunting their curves, while their mouths never stop complaining at the 2 young men. Why is it taking so long? We're about to start here. What follows is an incredibly suggestive eating scene, making the blonde-haired boy crave dumplings. Meanwhile, a boy with dark hair is washing the feet of a girl with purple hair. Looking at her slender legs, the boy feels like he can't hold back anymore, but he still softly asks, "Is the water temperature okay, my love?" Before he can finish his sentence, a dagger comes down straight onto his head, followed by a shout, "Get the hell out of here! You trying to wash my feet with cold water?" On the other side, the blonde-haired boy also gets hit with a club and harsh words keep coming. "Once the cooking's done, you're pretty much useless to me." It turns out they weren't the hot girls they seemed to be, but a bunch of goblins and a shape-shifting wolf. After taking care of the 2 unlucky guys, they went right back to boasting to each other. "Ha ha, what was all that talk about the strongest hero team? Didn't we just beat them like dogs?" Of course, it's all thanks to Deputy Commander that we could easily take over this castle. Deputy Commander Park Shin-hai, you disguised yourself as a priest to lure the heroes into our trap, then used that super powerful charm magic to control them. That strategy was perfect. Exactly. Those stupid heroes never suspected that the priest they trusted was actually a demon lord. At that moment, Park Shin-hai was sitting proudly on the throne, her head sporting horns and her legs stretched all the way to her armpits. Her subordinates were still desperately praising her. "You handled it all on your own. You deserve all the credit. When we get back, I'm sure the demon lord will reward you greatly. I've heard capturing a hero gets you 100 demon gold. I work an entire year for just 100 demon gold. Can you even compare to Deputy Commander Park Shin-hai?" No matter how much the goblins flattered her, it couldn't stop Park Shin-hai. She was lost in her own daydreams. "With these 200 demon gold, I'll have 1,500 demon gold. Then I can borrow another 500 demon gold and finally buy that hellish crocodile leather bag I've been dreaming of for so long." But she didn't even get the chance to finish her thoughts. From outside, the sound of battle echoed. Taehyung suddenly jumped through the window, wielding a sharp sword shaped like a time machine, and instantly took down a goblin, crimson sparks flying through the air. Seeing the stunned goblins frozen in place, Taehyung confidently announced, "I'm Knight Taehyung, and I've come to put an end to this." The goblins and a large wolf lunged toward him. With a swift move called Lam Van Tant Rich Dat, he cut through them all in one powerful strike. Once the fight was over, he calmly wiped the blade clean. But before he could even take a breath, Park Shin-hai suddenly appeared behind him. Without warning, she cast a spell that shimmered like a kiss in the air. Taehyung was instantly pulled into a trance, falling into her illusion. In the dreamlike space, he saw Park Shin-hai sitting in a serene bathhouse, surrounded by mist. She smiled gently and called to him. "You fought bravely today. Lay down your weapon and rest. Let the world's burdens fade." Hearing her soothing voice, Taehyung relaxed and lowered his sword. Her tone turned warmer as if offering comfort after a long day. "You've earned something special. Isn't that a nice surprise?" But to her astonishment, Taehyung didn't fully surrender to the illusion. Instead, his eyes sharpened with awareness. He stepped forward confidently and countered her spell, placing her under a magical hold as he smirked playfully. "Nice trick, but you'll need more than charm to control me." Park Shin-hai was stunned. She narrowed her eyes, voice tinged with curiosity. "You're just a human. How can your mind resist my illusion magic?" Taehyung remained calm, chuckling lightly, and then dismissed things like mind control or magic tricks. "To me, the strongest mind control technique is just child's play. Want to try it? If you can resist, I'll spare you like a dog's life." At that moment, Park Shin-hai felt an overwhelming excitement. Though she didn't know what kind of advanced mind control technique he had, people from her family were naturally immune to any type of mind-controlling magic. The thought of him trying to control her was downright laughable. Go ahead and try it. Taehyung quickly stood up and confirmed that there was no need for him to chant any spells or draw any runes. The truth about control techniques was that they were really just a means to get money. As long as you had enough money, everyone would kneel before you. Do you see that sword of mine? Park Shin-hai's reaction was one of slight disdain. Is that all you've got? Gold and silver may circulate among humans, but to the demon race, it's worth no more than dirt. The currency we use is demon gold. One demon gold is worth 10,000 human coins. Before Park Shin-hai could finish her sentence, Taehyung reached into his pocket and tossed a handful of coins into the air. Demon gold, is this what you mean? Park Shin-hai's jaw dropped. The scene reminded me of some kind of intense, sensitive moment. Immediately, Park Shin-hai used a skill to identify the coins, confirming they were indeed demon gold. But Taehyung didn't stop there. He pulled out a handful of purple stones and confidently declared, "Demon gold is nothing. I've got a whole bunch of demon stones here too." Park Shin-hai's mouth was stretched wide, almost as big as a fist. She was sweating under her arms and yelling loudly. "A magic stone, huh? It takes 10,000 magic gold just to get one magic stone. Oh, I see you finally figured it out. So what's it gonna be? Are you ready to give up? If you kneel and beg me for mercy, I'll give you 500 magic gold as a little greeting gift." After hearing that Taehyung wanted to give her some magic gold, Park Shin-hai's face darkened. Her fist clenched and she kept repeating, Brother. As for the round part, well, I'll leave that to your imagination." But unexpectedly, in the next moment, Park Shin-hai's expression completely changed, like flipping a pancake. Her face brightened, and she smiled so widely her cheeks flushed like a young woman in her 20s. After that friendly smile, she gave a somewhat fake compliment. "You really know how to judge people. I truly admit defeat. I'm completely impressed." Then Park Shin-hai struck a pose that was incredibly suggestive, her tail swishing like a cat trying to be cute. With a playful tone, she said, "I've been working my butt off for years just to save up 1,500 magic gold. It's been so tough. If you give me 2,000 magic gold, I swear I'll work like a horse and serve you for the rest of my life." Taehyung immediately grinned with a sly smile after hearing that. "I only need to spend 50 magic coins to hire a professional team to serve me for an entire month. So tell me, what exactly do you think I need you for right now?" Park Shin-hai immediately stood up, confidently showing off her personality. "Great hero, my name is Park Shin-hai. I'm from the Academy of Enchantresses, and I'm one of the top students there with the grades in every subject. You probably heard of the Academy of Enchantresses before." Taehyung raised an eyebrow, curious. "What is that?" To his surprise, Park Shin-hai honestly explained, "Every enchantress you see in the human world has to study at the Academy of Enchantresses. The art of enchantment is a mandatory subject for us. It covers many smaller courses like using a sweet voice to create emotional value, foot washing, eye treatment with essential oils, and much more, including things like clouds and rain." At this point, Taehyung's face turned as red as a monkey eating chili and his mouth watered as he eagerly complimented, "Well then, I really do want to give it a try." Seeing that she had hooked him, Park Shin-hai smiled sweetly and confirmed, "I will definitely make sure you, great hero, are satisfied." But deep inside, she was already plotting something darker. As long as she stayed close to him, she was confident she'd find the right opportunity to strike. When his mental strength was at its weakest, she used her enchantment skills to control him, take all his magic coins and stones, and then kill him. Before she could finish her wicked thoughts, the wall beside them suddenly shattered. Seeing the situation was getting out of hand, Taehyung immediately raised his sword, pointing it directly at the broken wall. From the other side of the wall, a giant creature with an axe stepped through. It was none other than the Brutal General. "Brutal General," Taehyung whispered under his breath when he saw him, but the Brutal General immediately shouted, "Finally, you're here. I've been looking for you for so long, and I can't believe you came here on your own." As he spoke, the Brutal General swung his axe down toward Taehyung with all of his might, but Taehyung remained calm, blocking the strike with his sword. After 9,982 back and forth attacks, Taehyung and the Brutal General were still evenly matched. It felt like Taehyung was just toying with him. Taehyung had a small scratch on his face, while the Brutal General had a deep gash across his chest. "Well, I guess this is a fair fight," Taehyung thought to himself. Realizing things weren't going in his favor, the Brutal General quickly turned to call out to Park Shin-hai. "Aren't you going to help me? If you can capture him, I'll speak well of you to the Demon King and you'll be rewarded with 1,000 demon coins." Park Shin-hai was momentarily startled, but then quickly cast some sort of spell on Taehyung. Ironically, it turned out to be a healing spell, and the cut on Taehyung's face immediately healed, leaving no trace. After that, Park Shin-hai continued to use the enhancement spell on Taehyung. This made the brutal general furious, and he cursed. Damn it, that damn woman, Park Shinhai, what the hell are you doing? But Park Shinhai didn't care at all. She just calmly explained, because he promised to give me a lot of magic gems. Before she could finish explaining, the brutal general was struck by Taehyung with a fatal blow and was sent off to reunite with his ancestors. Looking at the general's lifeless body on the ground, Park Shin-hai realized something. Even without her help, Taehyung was still able to overpower the brutal general, who was ranked 5th among the 4 great generals. How strong must he really be? However, in the next moment, Taehyung suddenly collapsed to his knees, groaning in pain, which made Park Shin-hai worry and call out, Master Dungjia, did something happen? Taehyung, hearing her, immediately blushed, laughed awkwardly, and explained, It's not a big deal. The thing is, my second golden sword suddenly became really stiff for some reason, so if I stand up straight, it will stick out and be really embarrassing. Park Shin-hai immediately realized what the problem was and thought to herself, This must be because of my demon bloodline. I didn't expect that my spell, used on a human, would have such a side effect. I really am sorry. Taehyung tried to act like he was fine, but the kneeling position was becoming harder and harder to maintain. It's okay. Maybe I'll be alright in a bit, he said, his voice slightly strained. However, Park Shin-hai didn't think so. She immediately stepped closer and whispered softly, You must be feeling really uncomfortable like this, right? My bedroom is just next door. Let me use some relaxation techniques I learned to help relieve your tension. She hadn't even finished her sentence when Taehyung suddenly picked her up and dashed straight toward the bedroom. As he moved, he kept shouting in a mix of panic and urgency. I can't take it anymore. Right now, I just want to become a shadow. Well, I haven't delved into your space. Inside the pink-colored room, dimly lit by a dreamy violet chandelier, Taehyung lay on his back on the bed, with a white towel wrapped around his waist. Park Shin-hai sat beside him, gently placing her hand on his body, soothing him as she spoke in a calm, gentle tone. Aromatherapy massage helps you relax both physically and mentally, boosts blood circulation, and gives your skin a healthy glow. With the right pressure on the right points, the essential oils can penetrate deeply, improve lymphatic flow, and help eliminate built-up toxins. How does the pressure feel to you? Hearing her question, Taehyung softly replied, It's perfect. Your technique is honestly so professional. Suddenly, Park Shin-hai smirked and thought to herself, while simultaneously weakening both your physical and mental defenses. Humph, now that I know your strength, how could I possibly underestimate you? That whole story about the bloodline, the seductive magic healing spell, and the buffs. I made that up. In reality, I secretly used the invincible Yang technique on you. You, the poor mixed-up fool, have been toyed within the palm of my hand without even realizing it. And then what had to happen happened. Park Shin-hai smirked even more wickedly as she picked up Taehyung's sword. Her mouth kept chanting some kind of incantation, and she immediately signaled to Taehyung to get ready. The preparations are almost done. Time to release the buffs. Taehyung, excited, replied, I can't wait anymore. All right, the real battle is just beginning. Under my control in just a second, you'll fall into a dreamlike state. And as Taehyung's sword continued moving up and down inside the dream, Taehyung was lying there, exhausted, muttering empty words to himself. Why am I even living? To chase fleeting pleasures or to find a deeper meaning? If life will eventually fade away, is all the effort and pursuit just pointless? My money? What's money good for? You can't take it with you when you die, so take it all if you want. Everything's in my space wallet. The code is 594,167. Hearing this, Park Shin-hai chuckled with satisfaction, praising him. Good boy. Now you can die. The next moment, Park Shin-hai appeared, half-dazed, slowly opening her eyes. It turns out that what just happened was only a dream of hers. Meanwhile, Taehyung was still in the real world, completely confused, repeatedly slapping Park Shin-hai's face, urging her to wake up. When Park Shin-hai finally regained her senses, she jumped up in shock and exclaimed, What the heck was that? What just happened? Taehyung, looking helpless, tried to explain, You were just talking about helping me release my stress. Then you sat down to massage me, and all of a sudden, you froze up and collapsed onto the bed, completely unresponsive. Are you okay? After hearing this, Park Shin-hai was taken aback, thinking to herself, Could it be that I was hypnotized by his gaze just now? No, that can't be it. This is totally different from what I learned at the academy. Taking a deep breath, she reminded herself that she hadn't lost yet, and she still had many tricks up her sleeve. After all, she was the top student at that magical academy. Thinking for a while, Park Shin-hai then tried to explain herself. I didn't know you were this skilled, but don't you think you could have been a little gentler with me? Taehyung, blushing, couldn't help but laugh. Haha, oh my gosh, this girl really knows how to talk. No wonder you're one of the experts who've been through the emotional management course. Before he could finish his sentence, Park Shin-hai suddenly grabbed both of Taehyung's legs, lifted them high, and said, "We still have plenty of time, right? You don't want to finish this quickly, do you, Sir Taehyung?" Taehyung was a bit surprised, clearly not expecting this kind of move. Wow, you're really something. But in the midst of this, Taehyung accidentally pushed his sword straight into Park Shin-hai, causing her to shudder, her face turning bright red as her tongue lolled out in a very suggestive manner. When Park Shin-hai froze again, Taehyung, feeling frustrated, asked, "Why are you frozen again? You're not about to faint, are you?" Not wanting that to happen, Taehyung immediately sat up, laughing as he suggested, "How about I take the lead?" By this point, Park Shin-hai was sweating coldly and silently told herself, "I can't hold back any longer. Everything I've learned over my life, it's time to put it all into action." As her eyes lit up, Taehyung suddenly found himself in dreamlike space. Sensing something was off, he quickly asked, "Where are we?" But Park Shin-hai didn't respond. Instead, she simply said, "Just enjoy it." With those words, she began chanting countless incantations. In total, she used 5 types of enchantments on Taehyung. Before long, the two of them found themselves high above the clouds. Park Shin-hai confirmed that everything was ready, and they could now move on to the second phase. Taehyung, hearing this, laughed and praised her, saying, "Very good. I don't know what kind of charms you've put on me, but the effect is amazing. I'm getting more and more interested in you." As soon as he finished speaking, Taehyung suddenly pulled Park Shin-hai into his arms and charged toward a portal that appeared in front of them. With great excitement, he shouted, "Ahead is the gate to paradise. Once we pass through, we'll reach the peak of life." When the gate to paradise was destroyed, a giant crystal appeared inside. Without hesitation, Taehyung immediately used his technique to lock onto the target, trapping Park Shin-hai in a restrained position. Looking at her awkward face in the mirror, Park Shin-hai felt incredibly embarrassed. No, is this really me? Do I really have that expression? Before she could finish thinking, Park Shin-hai suddenly passed through the glass wall. Taehyung, at that moment, continued to use the legendary Arhat pushing the cart move, followed by a dual move on the sofa. When she came to her senses, Park Shin-hai realized she was in the Demon King's palace, surrounded by thousands of demon soldiers standing below. Taehyung, from behind her, taunted, "I didn't expect you, Park Shin-hai, to enjoy being watched by so many people like this." Seeing the misunderstanding, Park Shin-hai trembled and hurried to explain, "No, that's not it. This isn't my thing, ah." But before she could finish, Taehyung launched a sudden, relentless attack. Tears began to fall from Park Shin-hai's eyes as she repeatedly wondered in her head, "Why? I used all my skills, yet I still can't beat him. I've lost. I've really lost." Ah. Then, gold coins rained down like a storm. Even more surprising, everything that had just happened turned out to be a dream of Park Shin-hai's. She was now unconscious, her body drenched in sweat, both hers and someone else's pouring down like rain. Taehyung was stretching his arms, feeling completely refreshed. After releasing all that tension, he felt mentally clear and his spirit lifted, 100 times more energized than before. Seo-hai, you're amazing. From now on, follow me on these adventures and I guarantee you'll have more magic gold than you can ever spend. Before he could finish his sentence, Taehyung suddenly noticed something strange on Park Shin-hai's lower stomach. It was a purple pattern with a bizarre shape. At this point, Park Shin-hai had also regained her senses. Seeing the design on her stomach, she quickly explained to Taehyung, "This is a magical enchantment. It only appears when someone has fully submitted both their body and mind to another person. In other words, from now on, I can never be apart from you." And so, the two of them, one a powerful hero, the other a magical priestess, continue their adventurous journey in this fantastical world of magic. This is the high-speed personal storyline of Park Shin-hai, the champion chosen by readers and awarded the title of Goddess of 2024. Thanks to the generous support of the powerful patrons, she made it to the golden leaderboard. The bonus chapter ends here. The next section will return to the main storyline. Now it's time for Taehyung to continue his quest to level up by spending money and charming women. Let's get back to the main plot. The scene shifts to a bar with loud, thumping music. At this moment, Taehyung's close friend, Jae-suk, is riding his bike to pick up an order. As he reaches the door, his phone rings with a notification. You're close to your destination. After finishing the directions, suddenly a message pops up from a friend named Jin-gu. Me and Tahi are at the airport now. Taehyung will be here in about half an hour. Do you think you'll make it in time? Jae-suk quickly grabs his phone and replies, I'll head over as soon as I finish this order. I should be there just in time. Jin-gu responds with, everything should be done slowly. Don't rush too much. Not long ago, you were still delivering food during your free time. Honestly, I don't know what to say anymore. Well, I'm out of ideas too. Delivering food is getting harder every day. I think being a delivery driver suits me better. It doesn't mess with my schoolwork. Just after sending a message, Jae-suk suddenly hears a shout from a distance. Hey, are you the driver I call? Jae-suk looks up and sees two men with a young woman, all three of them visibly drunk. He quickly greets them and then asks, "Are you the customer with the phone number ending in 59,167? The gray-haired man didn't seem to care at all. He tossed the keys toward Jae-suk and barked in an urgent voice, "Get in the car. Drive now." The car had only moved a few meters when the gray-haired man called out to Go. "Put on something lively for Director Yin, will you?" Hearing her name, the girl chirped in response and leaned forward toward the touchscreen to select a song. As she scrolled through the options, she playfully asked with a grin, "What song fits the mood right now, In the process, she accidentally, or perhaps intentionally, leaned back in a way that made her posture somewhat careless in front of Director Yin. After a few seconds of tense silence, the director gave her a light pat on the shoulder, commented in a half-joking, half-teasing tone, "You really do like being the center of attention, don't you?" Instead of getting upset, the girl twisted around slightly, replying with playful sass, "Director, you're so mean. I'm seriously trying to pick a song here, you know." Director Yin chuckled and quipped back with a light tease. "I thought you were hinting at a private music party or something." At the front, Jae-suk, who was behind the wheel, turned red in the face. The atmosphere inside the car suddenly felt a little awkward. The girl noticed right away and leaned into the moment, posing dramatically as she whispered with a mischievous smile, "If you don't stay focused, I might just make you lose control of the wheel tilt." From the backseat, Director Yin laughed and shook his head. "If this car really does lose control, who's going to take the blame, huh?" Then he turned red and looked at the guy with the gray head, praising him. "Gu is really great. I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself later and do something embarrassing." But the gray-headed guy was completely unconcerned. He calmly replied, "What's so special about Go? Our bar has countless beautiful women. I'll call Fi, Do, and Lulu later so you can have a good time. We're good friends, so tonight we're going all out." The girl, hearing this, chimed in, "Mr. Yin, Manager Mang really is a great friend of yours. As for us, every one of us is amazing. Just our small talk alone is worth more than 20,000 yuan. The gray-headed guy laughed slyly. "Haha. 20,000 yuan? What's that? Mr. Yin brought in such a big business deal, I don't even know how to thank you." Hearing the compliment, Mr. Yin puffed up with pride. "These small projects, only a couple 100,000 yuan, are nothing. For me, it's just a drop in the ocean. The fish had taken the bait." The gray-headed guy immediately called out, "Later, get 2 more girls. Money is no problem. Just put it on my tab." Yes. Thank you, Manager Mang. I've told Mr. Yin that tonight will be like a royal feast for him." Seeing there was nothing more to discuss, the gray-headed guy turned to start a conversation with Jae-suk. "You're still so young, but you're already driving a car. Are you in college?" Jae-suk, caught off guard by the question, answered honestly, "Yes, I'll graduate at the end of this year and start working." "Hey, have you got a girlfriend yet?" Jae-suk quickly jolted and replied, "Not yet." "Well, I guess you've never even held a girl's hand, huh? Aha, CEO Yin, you're so naughty." Suddenly, the girl's legs stretched up to the front seat, causing Jae-suk to jump in surprise. Looking through the rearview mirror, he saw the gray-haired guy holding her leg, grinning and asking, "Do you think these legs are beautiful? Want to touch them?" Jae-suk blushed, silently reminding himself, never trust the words of a drunk person. Then he responded, "Please don't joke like that. I still need to focus on driving." Hearing this, the gray-haired guy mocked, saying that university students were so innocent, then added, "If you don't want to touch them, I'll do it myself." Haha, Mang knows how to have fun. The scene shifted to a love hotel called Purple Heartbeat. At that moment, Jae-suk's phone beeped, signaling they were close to their destination, and the navigation ended. As they entered the hotel, the gray-haired guy complimented, "You drive really well, young man. Fast, but steady." Jae-suk, happy to hear this, replied, "Thanks. The fare for this ride is 52 yuan and 6 mao." Then he silently thought to himself, "This customer is so rich. Maybe he'll leave a tip or something." But life isn't a dream. The man with gray hair confirmed the transfer, and immediately, Jae-suk noticed that the amount he transferred was only 50 yuan. What's worse, he didn't offer any explanation and just walked straight inside with the 2 others. Seeing this, Jae-suk yelled out, "Excuse me, sir. Please wait a moment. You haven't paid the full amount yet. You still owe 2 yuan and 60 cents. The man heard this and laughed like he had just heard a joke. 2 yuan and 60 cents? Are you kidding me? Even CEO Yin joined in, laughing, and added, "This student is really interesting." Haha. Jae-suk immediately pulled up the information on his phone and explained, This is the company's system fee, not something I'm charging. The price is set by the system, and there's no room for bargaining. Please kindly pay the remaining 2 yuan and 60 cents. The man with gray hair kept making excuses. You make hundreds of yuan a night, and you're worried about 2 yuan and 60 cents. That's not even enough for a cup of bubble tea. A man who's so stingy. No wonder he's still single and doesn't even have a girlfriend. Then he suddenly got serious and threatened. You better move out of the way or don't blame me if the seawater gets salty. At this point, Jae-suk remained calm and explained, Sir, please don't make it difficult for me. I'm just doing my job as a delivery man, and it's not easy. But before he could finish his sentence, he yelled angrily, Who the hell do you think you are? Do you really think I'd waste my time making things difficult for you? You're just a lousy driver. Do you even know who I am? I'm Manager Meng from the bar we were at earlier. I make tens of thousands of yuan every month. I couldn't care less about your few spare change. At this point, Jae-suk also snapped, his anger boiling over. So what does that have to do with me? If you don't pay the 2 yuan 60, you're not going anywhere. Unable to reason with him, the guy resorted to bullying. He shoved Jae-suk hard, shouting, Are you crazy? You're going to get physical over 2 yuan 60? Jae-suk couldn't react in time and fell to the ground. His phone screen shattered on impact. Seeing the tension rising, the girl quickly shouted, Manager Meng, let's go. Don't waste time with him here. What if he claims you hit him and demands money for medical bills? That would be a hassle. But the man with the gray hair didn't care at all. He continued to sneer at Jae-suk arrogantly. You're a young, healthy college student, and I just gave you a little show. And now you're falling like that? Who's going to believe this? You're just trying to scam me for money, aren't you? You knew I'm Manager Meng in a popular bar, so now you want to make trouble, right? Let me tell you, if I call the police, you'll be spending a week in the station. But right now, I've got to take my friend inside and have a good time. I don't have time to deal with a poor guy like you. The girl, hearing this, also spoke up loudly. That's right, don't let this lousy driver ruin our fun. At that moment, his close friend Jin-gu called, Jae-suk, are you done? We've picked up Taehyung already, and we're planning to grab a late-night bite at the usual spot. We're just waiting for you to get here. Jae-suk quickly responded, I'm done. Just had a run-in with some jerks who tried to skip out on the fare. The scene shifted to Yanjiang Airport. After hearing that his good friend Jae-suk had been scammed, Tae was absolutely furious. This is ridiculous. Not only did they refuse to pay, they laid hands on him too. Is there no law anymore? Jin-gu, trying to calm him down, said, I know you're really upset right now, but Jae-suk, people who work at those big nightclubs often have ties to the underworld. We as ordinary folks can't mess with them. Just treat that 2 yuan and 6 yuan as a donation to the spirits. Before Jin-gu could finish his sentence, Taeyong interrupted, saying this couldn't be let go. This wasn't just about the 2 yuan and 6 yuan. It was about the disrespect they were showing to the taxi drivers. Someone needed to teach them that taxi drivers aren't so easy to push around. Before anyone could react, Taeyong snatched the phone out of Jin-gu's hand. Then he raised his hand to his mouth and shouted loudly, calling out to Jae-suk, Go inside and find them first. Just keep an eye on them, okay? We'll be there soon. And by the way, call the police too. I swear on my reputation, I'll make sure we get that 2 yuan and 6 yuan back for you. The scene shifts to the inside of the hotel. It turned out that on the outside, it looked like just a regular hotel. But inside, it was a bar filled with all kinds of wild, hedonistic pleasures. The gray-haired man was loudly chanting, drink, drink, drink. Meanwhile, the CEO, Mr. Yin, was desperately pouring alcohol into the girls' mouths. At the banquet table, 3 other girls were dancing nonstop. To the right, there was a server dressed very modestly. After a while of chugging down the liquor, a girl named Gu Gu couldn't handle it anymore and started coughing uncontrollably. But CEO Yin wouldn't let up and continued to demand more. Quick, bring another bottle. Since today was her first day on the job, the server was a bit nervous and clumsy. And then a loud crash rang out. The bottle that Mr. Yin had handed her shattered on the floor. Before she could even apologize, the gray-haired man rushed over and slapped her hard across the face. As he did, he kept cursing, What the hell are you even good for? You can't even hold a damn bottle right. You've ruined the good atmosphere we had here, damn it. Clean this up right now. If I find even a single piece of glass left, I'll shove it into your mouth. As he said this, he shoved the girl's head into the ground. By instinct, her hand immediately pressed down onto the floor. In her extreme panic, she accidentally stabbed her hand with a piece of glass. But the guy with the gray hair wasn't human, so he didn't care at all about something like that. He stood up and yelled, Fifi, keep dancing. Lulu and Duo let the CEO Yin experience the facial cleanser. Upon hearing this, the 2 girls quickly sat down on CEO Yin's lap and asked for the facial cleanser the guy with the gray hair was talking about. Well, you probably know what he really meant, right? Before CEO Yin could even experience this magical facial cleanser, there was a loud banging on the door from outside, which made the guy with the gray hair incredibly angry. He cursed loudly, "Who the hell is interrupting my boy's facial cleanser experience? Didn't I say not to bother us?" Then the door to the room was opened and Jae-suk confidently walked in saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, since you refuse to pay me, I've called the police." Jae-suk also made sure to take out his phone and start recording everything as evidence. Yet CEO Yin still didn't seem to know what fear was. He pointed directly at Jae-suk's face, laughing mockingly as he said, "This idiot actually came in here after me. This is the territory of the gray-haired guy, so of course he's feeling so proud, cursing Jae-suk as a poor fool. Is it really worth fighting over just a couple of yuan? Looks like you'll always be stuck with this poor, miserable life. But it's only 2 yuan and 6 yuan. What are you going to do? Sue us? You really think the police will care about you?" After hearing this, Jae-suk remained calm and responded, "I've already recorded the proof of you guys taking money for the bread. When the police come, they'll arrest you for dealing in an illegal facial cleanser. You can just wait for them at the station." Hearing this, the gray-haired guy rushed straight toward Jae-suk, his mouth still spewing curses. "Damn it! You dare threaten me? Let me show you how I'll handle you today." But before his punch could land on Jae-suk's face, Taehyung appeared just in time to block it. Once things seemed under control, Taehyung spoke up. "The police will be here in a few minutes. If you don't want to make things worse for yourself, just stay put." The gray-haired guy still didn't get the full picture and continued glaring at Taehyung with a murderous look. He shouted, "Calling more people, huh? I'll remember your face. Don't think you'll live in peace in Yanjiang from now on. I'm just selling bread for a few yuan, and even if I end up in a cell for 24 hours, I'll pay the fine and be out. You really think you can do anything to me?" Without giving him a chance to finish his sentence, Taeyong interrupted and spoke up. "You talk a big game. If the punishment for eating a pastry and paying for it is just 24 hours in detention, then all I need to do is make sure you're guilty of a few more crimes, and I can get you in even deeper, right?" The man with the gray hair, still very confident, replied, "You want me to take on a few more charges? Oh, I'm so scared. Well, I guess I'll have to see what you've got. You, a poor broke student, have the guts to threaten me." At this point, Taeyong ignored him completely and turned to the injured waitress. "Are you all right? I saw him hurt you in the video earlier, right? If that's the case, please bring me the posting machine. I'm sending this scumbag to jail right now." The waitress, clearly confused, hesitated, while General Manager Yin calmly praised, "This is more interesting than I thought, even better than the round face wash." Did you hear what he said? "Hurry up and bring the posting machine. I want to see what this student can actually do." The waitress, still nervous, obediently brought over the machine to Taeyong, and before handing it over, she quietly warned him, "You should leave quickly. Manager Mang isn't someone a student like you should mess with." When Taeyong grabbed the payment terminal in his hand, the man with the gray hair immediately challenged him, shouting loudly, "Now that you've got the terminal, what are you going to do with it? Are you planning to hit me with it? Or maybe you want me to swipe my credit card for you, 2 yuan and 6 yuan as a beggar's handout?" Outside the door, the group from the bar started whispering among themselves. "This college kid is arguing with Manager Meng over just 2 yuan and 6 yuan. He's finished. Anyone who crosses Manager Meng ends up in the hospital with a cast within 3 days, you'll see." Hearing this, Jae-suk was a bit worried and called out to Taeyong. But Taeyong, on the other hand, was like a superhero about to transform. He took out his special privilege card, swiped it once, and the payment terminal immediately made a loud announcement. "Your card balance is 50 million yuan. This made everyone freeze for 5 seconds. Even CDO Yin couldn't believe it and thought to himself, "Is this guy a rich second generation testing others, or what?" Taehyung, however, didn't care about their reactions. He casually slid his hand into his pocket, stood tall, and boldly declared, "I'm now requesting evidence of this trash manager's crimes. Anyone who can provide proof will receive a 3 million yuan reward. The first person to bring valid evidence will get the money transferred to their account immediately." Everyone froze for the second time after hearing this. The gray-haired man could no longer hold back. He immediately charged in front of Taeyong and shouted, "You! Who the hell are you?" Taeyong, still calm, responded, "I'm just a person with money seeing something wrong and stepping in to help." The gray-haired man believed him, so he continued with a drugged-out, exaggerated attitude, saying, "You want to gather evidence against me, right? Come on, let's see who can bring you the evidence you need." When his subordinates arrived and didn't dare say a word, the gray-haired man grew even more arrogant. He pointed directly at Taeyong and asked, "What's this? You think a little money can scare me? Too bad your brain isn't very sharp. You think 3 million can buy evidence of a crime. Who's going to believe you?" Then he turned to the crowd around them and continued, "Listen up, when the police come, I'll accuse these two of secretly recording me. They've invaded my privacy and my image rights. Anyone who stands with me and helps me charge them, I'll reward each of you 5,000 yuan to hang out with me. The gray-haired man snorted, then added, "You're not even fully grown yet, you little brat." But before he could continue his boasting, the waitress spoke up, confirming, "I have evidence. I'll testify against Manager Meng for his criminal behavior." At that moment, the gray-haired man was left speechless, standing frozen for 5 seconds.